Straight ahead on 12 News, an artistic tribute to a New Hope Marine.
I mean, it's for all of us. It's wonderful.
Plus, after a deck collapse in Champlin, what building officials want you to know about your own deck. But first, a Maple Grove church targeted again, and new surveillance video that may help solve the crime. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone. Vandals have struck a church in Maple Grove for the 4th time this year.
Now authorities say they have hope the case will soon be solved. 12 News reporter Carissa Wyant has the story.
Mike and Alex, the Pilgrims United Church of Christ has been hit by vandals 4 times in the last 2 months. The most recent time was this past weekend. Today, Maple Grove police believe they will be able to crack the case, but they need your help. This surveillance video from the Maple Grove Police Department shows a man in a wheelchair throwing eggs at the church, located in the 8800 block of Rice Lake Road. Authorities estimate the man is in his 30s or 40s. He looks up toward the camera at one point, giving us a shot of his face.
It's our belief that once the video is released and the suspect is seen, there are some clear indicators that will probably lead someone to call us in a relatively short timeline to help us identify the suspect in this case.
Police believe the same man is likely responsible for the previous acts against the church as well. In some of the cases, there was graffiti referencing Bible verses that could be construed as anti-gay. The church has supported the rights of same-sex couples.
The reason that it appears to us makes it very concerning, being a bias-motivated crime, and we want to make sure that this type of vandalism doesn't happen within our city.
Maple Grove police aren't sure if the man is confined to the wheelchair or if he uses it as a disguise. And Mike and Alex, Maple Grove Police Department urged anyone who may recognize this man to contact them as soon as possible.
All right, and that's a pretty good shot of the man as well.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, Carissa. Investigators are trying to determine what caused a deck to collapse in Champlin.
Several people were hurt, including a baby. 12 News reporter Sonia Goins has more details.
From what you can see from the wall, it pulled away from the wall.
Felix Neva says his family was having a going-away party Sunday night.
The thing just went down, boom, sort of like a really big bang.
When the deck at his home tumbled.
You know, it's very traumatic and emotional. There were people here screaming that Mama is dead.
6 people were on the deck, including Felix, when it went down.
And it didn't look more than 6 to 8 feet in the air, so it wasn't a real long tumble, if you will, but it was, you know, plenty for anybody to get hurt.
The house was built in 1986. The deck was already attached when Felix bought the home in 2005.
I was surprised. You know, you expect that a deck like this should be able to hold 6 people.
City records show there was not a permit for the deck.
The deck, I think, was attached to a wall just with nails.
Many decks in the early 80s were built with nail connections, but that's against Minnesota code now.
Now the building code requires that they have to have a 1/2-inch lag bolt or 2 3/8-inch bolts every 16 inches.
Roger Axel is a building official with the city of New Hope.
Actually, the incidents happen quite frequently. If you look nationally, this is a regular occurrence.
He demonstrates why contractors are supposed to use bolts instead of nails.
So you can see these bolts go through the ledger into the rim joist of the building itself. So this is what's holding this ledger to the building. If these aren't there, if they're just relying on nails, they're going to pull out.
Felix Neva says the home was inspected when he bought the house.
You know, it was so sudden. There was no time to even, like to say, hey, what is happening?
And he never anticipated anything like this happening.
I'm traumatized.
Now, the 4 people hurt in the collapse are out of the hospital and are expected to be okay. Meanwhile, Roger Axel, the building official in our story, says it's important for homeowners to actually see the permit to make sure the contractor really did get a permit. Mike?
That's a good point. All right. Thank you very much, Sonia. Authorities have identified the little boy struck and killed by a van in Corcoran as 2-year-old Henry Lucas Gonzalez. Neighbors say the boy had crawled underneath a van when the driver started to move. The medical examiner says the child died of head injuries. The boy's family was celebrating his birthday at the time. Authorities continue to investigate but believe it was a tragic accident.
A Maple Grove man is remembering a friend who died when her Model T rolled over. 51-year-old Karen Johnson of Owatonna, Minnesota, was killed Friday in Utah near Zion National Park. This is a picture taken by the Utah Highway Patrol. Officials say Johnson's 1914 Model T had pulled over to let other cars pass when a spoke on one of the wheels broke. Jim Perry of Maple Grove and Johnson were among those who started the Teetotalers Car Club in Minnesota.
Karen Johnson actually helped me get a hold of and secure the windshield. She actually helped me get the horn on this car, and then she would call me and say, "Did you get your windshield?" So she went above and beyond. She helped me put this car together. So Karen was really an aspect of helping me secure the parts that you see on this car today.
Funeral services for Karen Johnson are set for Thursday in Owatonna. 3 years ago, a New Hope Marine lost both legs and his left arm when he stepped on an IED in Afghanistan.
Corporal Mark Latinsky's story inspired a work of art that's now on display in Minneapolis. As Delane Cleveland explains, it's just one way people are honoring his sacrifice.
Surrounded by the uptown hustle and bustle, what looks like a blank wall to some is a canvas to Scott Lebedo.
From the street, it'll just pop right out. It'll be so three-dimensional.
The Staten Island artist is known for painting American flag murals all across the nation.
The American flag, to me, is the most beautiful, powerful, meaningful, most recognized work of art in the world.
Now, he's chosen the Minneapolis VFW as the site of his latest work. After getting a late start due to rain, Lebedo works at a feverish pace, draping the wall in 9 different colors.
Because it's not just a flat flag, I give it life. I make it three-dimensional and it's waving.
And examining it from every angle to generate the red, white, and blue in 3D.
Everyone is different. Everyone has a different ripple, maybe more ripples, a different perspective.
It's pretty awesome.
New Hope native Mark Latinsky observes Lebedo's brush strokes from the sidewalk.
The amount of support and appreciation and love that everyone's shown us has been overwhelming.
This mural, however, is part of a much larger project aimed at raising money to put Latinsky and his wife into a new handicapped accessible home that allows them to raise a family.
But it's really hard to do that in a little apartment, and no homes that are out and available for rent or to buy are really set up for somebody in Mark's situation.
That situation was the main reason why Lebedo made the trek from New York, but it's also to honor the sacrifice Latinsky made in Afghanistan.
That's a personal gift to me, and I treasure that.
In turn, the Latinsky family treasures his hard work, tearing up when Lebedo puts on the final touches.
It's for all of us. It's wonderful.
In Minneapolis, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
A benefit concert for Mark Latinsky featuring actor Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan Band will take place on Sunday, and that's at the Pantages Theater. Coming up, what teachers can do differently in the classroom.
We sit in on a cutting-edge classroom lesson. And then later in sports, it's an action-filled battle as local pro boxer Corey Rodriguez faces a tough opponent.
But first, a very odd AccuWeather forecast. Our September-like weather continues. It was a sweet day over at Betty Crocker Kitchens. General Mills held a wedding cake tasting for 3 same-sex couples who will be among the first to legally marry in Minnesota on Thursday. The Golden Valley Company was one of the first Minnesota corporations to speak out against the proposed amendment that would have banned same-sex marriage.
We know when the amendment was on the ballot last fall, they took some flack and there were some protesters here, but we also know that they met those protesters with respect and they responded very respectfully and they didn't waver in their support of equality.
General Mills will provide a cake to each of these couples. Queen Cakes of Edina will be in charge of the baking and decorating. Well, what skills will today's students need for the business world of tomorrow?
It's an important question given the rapid speed of technology. In this week's Business Matters, we take you to an educator's workshop that aims to teach the tools of tomorrow.
How do we understand these students and what makes them tick?
With technology at their fingertips,
Our students are changing.
educators from around the state gather at St. Thomas with a long-term goal in mind, preparing students for tomorrow's business world.
They're going to be dealing with things that aren't even thought about or invented yet.
Rogers Middle School teacher Bev Hahn knows it's not too early for her 8th grade students to learn critical thinking skills when it comes to technology.
You've kind of always got to stay on top of it and know how to go through the learning process.
We don't know what the technology will be. We don't even know what the jobs will be. But we need to teach students to have the skills necessary to be successful in both arenas. They need to see that you're engaging with the world that they're in.
This technology integration workshop is put on by Brooklyn Park-based nonprofit Best Prep, which aims to prepare students for success in the business and career world.
It's helping educators see what they can be doing differently in their classroom and what are the pieces that they need to be teaching their students so that they're ready for the jobs.
This week, teachers like Bev Hahn are paired with business partners like this leader from TCF Bank for a hands-on job shadow to bring back real-world experience to their students.
Getting that chance to say, okay, this is the environment where my students are going to go. How can I prepare my student for what they're going to do when they leave school?
The kinds of technology used 10 to 15 years from now is anyone's guess, but teaching teachers to think about it is a step in preparing students for tomorrow.
I just want to prepare them for the real world.
Around 80 educators from elementary, middle, and high schools around the state are taking part in this week's workshop.
A Brooklyn Park teen is inspiring others for a better tomorrow. She was honored for her work in helping others. Sydney Stordahl was named Teen Miss Global United over the weekend. The honor celebrates the inner beauty of women. Sydney's platform is youth homelessness. She spends her time volunteering with a local nonprofit and youth food shelf. The Global United competition featured young women from India, Singapore, the Philippines, and Australia. And Sydney will be a senior at Champlin Park High School, but will attend North Hennepin full-time in the school's post-secondary program. Coming up in sports, win, lose, or draw. Local boxers involved in a closely scored fight.
Plus, Osseo and Maple Grove battle for a spot in the State American Legion baseball tournament. John Jacobson is in next.
The State American Legion baseball tournaments start later this week. One local team qualified for state over the weekend. Osseo and Maple Grove meeting in the Sub-State 11 final. Top of the first, 2 outs, runners on first and second. Maple Grove's Nate Erickson with a fly ball to right center. It gets past the diving A.J. Lyons. Joe Franton, Ben Osborne come around to score to give the Crimson a 2-0 lead. Now 4-0 Maple Grove, top of the fifth. Osborne singles to right. Corey Pallion comes in to score. The Crimson has their biggest lead of the game at 5-1. 7th inning, Osseo down 5-3 and following a 2-out Winston Lane triple. The ball drops here. Austin Bees unable to hang on to it. John Ludwig is able to reach base. Lane scores, and then the next batter, Grant Seelock, with a bomb off the top of the wall in center. Ludwig comes all the way around from first to score, and the game is tied at 5. Next batter, Mac Pierce singles to right. Seelock slides in safely at home. Osseo comes back to take a 6-5 lead. Maple Grove pitchers later walked in 2 runs to make it 8-5. Top of the ninth, 2 outs and a runner on second. Ben Johnson getting Frantic to ground out to end the game. Osseo wins 8-6, and they head to state for the second time in 3 years.
We got a lot of different players, like a lot of different people on this team, a lot of different roles people have. People really buy into their roles. Big thing about everyone, nobody quits. We just try to keep as positive as we can. And, you know, bottom of the 7th, we actually had the first 2 batters out, but we just kept fighting like we said, and Winston started it, and we finally caught a couple breaks, and we finally took advantage, and, you know, that's all it takes in a game of baseball.
Osseo plays Montemita in its first game of the State Legion tournament Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock in Chanhassen. In Sub-State 9, Chester Bird of Golden Valley faced Coon Rapids with the Birds looking for a title. Top of the 3rd inning, Chester Bird down 9-0 with the bases loaded. Gabe McDonald launches one into the trees here over the left field wall. And just like that, the Birds get into the game, now down 9-4. Coon Rapids came right back, though. This time it's the Cardinals with the bases loaded. J.B. Bruner hits a deep shot over Sam Lynch's head in center. 3 runs come in. Bruner ends up with a triple. The Cardinals push the lead back to 12-4. Birds wouldn't go away, though. Top of the fourth, 2 runs already in. Joe Mellis with a grounder through the middle. Nathan Hanks and James Heck score, and it's 12-8. But Chester Bird couldn't find a way to slow down Coon Rapids. Fifth inning, Cardinals up 13-8 when Jake Cederstrom gets that hit. Taylor Wachowski and Anthony Merloza come in to make it 15-8 Coon Rapids. They go on to win 18-8. The two teams are playing again today, determine who will make it on to state. The Crystal Frolics celebration has a strong softball tradition. A team with some familiar names from high school athletics in the area played for one of the championships at the Frolics. In the Gold Division final, Outpost of Ramsey meeting Minneapolis Knutson Trucking. Travis Auld with a hit to left for Outpost. Scored tournament MVP Keel Bistido, and it's 3-1 in the third. Later in the inning, Jake Gallery slugging one out toward the Ferris wheel. A grand slam for Gallery, and it's 7-1 Outpost. An inning later in the fourth, Jeff Semling takes his turn, driving one to the trees. Outpost with some former Champlin Park High School athletes wins this one 15-2. SNS won the Silver Division Championship. A couple of local pro boxers stepped back into the ring over the weekend. Cooper High School grad Corey Rodriguez taking on Gilbert Venegas in a 6-round junior middleweight bout. First round, Rodriguez knocking Venegas with a left hook, and he controls the fight for the first 2 rounds. Late in the third round, these boxers going toe-to-toe. Round 3, very tough to call. Fourth round, Rodriguez connects with a few uppercuts here, but Venegas comes back with a flurry of his own. In the fifth round, another back-and-forth battle as the fighters go punch for punch right to the bell. A great fight, very close fight. All 3 judges score it a 57-57 draw. Also in action Friday night, heavyweight Joey Abel. The Champlin Park grad makes quick work of Morenzo Smith, scoring 2 knockdowns in the first round. Smith did not answer the bell for the second round, giving Abel a TKO victory. First time Joey had been in the ring for about a year or so, and he gets a win there.
All right. Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you, John. Still ahead, we get Tangled Up in Baby.
We'll be right back. And before we say goodbye, a picture that's high on the cute meter.
That's David Dobrin, our graphics artist, with his brand new baby girl and his wife. And David, of course, puts together the fantastic graphics you see here on the air on Channel 12. Marlo Dobrin was born Saturday. She came in 8 pounds, 4 ounces. Congratulations to David and his wife, Erin. We're told that all are doing fine and that little Marlo is already a Bob Dylan fan. You can hear it in the background, something she inherited from her father, probably.
Beautiful little girl. I'm sure our control room would say it's never too early to start her on Dylan, right?
No, it's already started.
It's already started.
That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here tomorrow.